Welcome everyone, Joe with ECRM at our on and off-premise adult beverage session. And with me is Kaleigh from NIQ, who gave a great presentation yesterday to kick things off. And here we're gonna dive into one of the topics that she spoke about, and that is the moderation of consumption. So people are drinking a little bit less these days. And, what's the reason for this and how is it impacting on and off premise?
Yeah, I think this idea of moderation goes back to when we were all stuck at home during the pandemic, and increased consumption did occur at home among a number of consumers. And then post-pandemic, we were getting back out there and, figuring out what products we really wanted to enjoy again, especially in the on-premise. And a lot of consumers realized they might have overconsumed during the pandemic. And so they started looking for alternatives. And one alternative that was right there were non-alcohol beer, wine, and spirits products. And what once was just a dry January sort of blip in time throughout the year has really turned into consumers opting for moderation in their consumption throughout the year. So they might have enjoyed a glass of wine in the evening at home for that relaxation or wind down moment. And we're starting to see consumers maybe not drinking that product and subbing it for something else, another beverage, a non-alcohol beverage, things like that.
Well, I could tell you firsthand, I saw during the pandemic, when the restaurants were closed indoors, but they were serving outdoors. And on the strip by my apartment, there's a strip of like 20 bars and restaurants. Well, in the evenings, all you saw were the garbage cans overflowing with used to-go cups. And the occasional person sleeping on the floor in the middle of the street. So yeah, there definitely was some overconsumption going on during that time. The other thing is, there's I think the health and wellness aspect that you mentioned. I definitely know, me and my peer group, we're in our 50s, we're trying to stave off, the impacts of old age. So my consumption is definitely moderated a little bit because of that. One of my friends doesn't drink anymore just for that reason. Another one, he doesn't drink as much regularly, but he is a whiskey fanatic. So he likes going upscale with those. So, how's health and wellness impacting this?
Yeah, I think health and wellness is sort of an interesting phrase to use in the beverage alcohol industry, but you do these all the time across all different categories. And if we think about how people are shopping across their total store purchasing, they're constantly looking for those health and wellness claims on any product that they consume. And so when it comes to beverage alcohol, we sometimes see that as a treat occasion for consumers. But some consumers are still opting for a potential better for you option that may have no sugar added or 100 calories or less type of claim. And then that sort of leans into this idea of moderation as well, where consumers are realizing that they want to feel good the next morning after going out. And so they may choose to not consume alcohol. And thus that's going to positively impact their sleep and their overall total wellness.
Gotcha. And cost of living increases are impacting consumption as well.
Yeah, from a beverage alcohol purchasing standpoint, inflation has been a huge impact. And again, shoppers are feeling it across the store. Every category has increased its price. And when we look specifically at beer, wine, spirits, and RTDs, beer is one of the categories where inflation is still lingering a bit more. And the beer shopper is recognizing that and maybe opting for some other products, but it sort of ties in, and I might be jumping ahead a little bit, to this idea of premiumization that exists as well. So in some cases, average prices might be up when we look at category trends because people are opting to drink better products. And then this also ties back to the idea of moderation, where they're drinking better, but not necessarily more. So somebody might have gone out previously and had, 5 value drinks, but now they're opting for 1 to 2 premium price drinks, enjoying that drinking experience. And it's sort of a moderation tactic, but it's also premiumization, and they're being conscious of what they're spending as well.
Okay, that's like my friend who's the whiskey connoisseur. He won't drink that often, but when he does, he's getting top shelf at home. He's got a collection of these, really expensive whiskeys that he'll have on occasion, but he's going to make the investment because it's the experience.
It is the experience, yeah.
So how does this change across generations?
From a generational perspective, I think it's varied a little bit. The one thing we continually keep hearing in the media is that Gen Z aren't consuming alcohol, those of legal drinking age, 21 plus. And we like to say and stop them in their tracks and be like, that's not necessarily the case. They're just consuming differently. And they are entering beverage alcohol when they turn 21 in the same way, because many did turn 21 during the pandemic. And what do you do when you turn 21? You typically go out to a bar or restaurant, and they just didn't have the ability to do that. And we know that's where a lot of trial also occurs for different products, because you can sample smaller portions of alcohol without having to invest in an entire bottle. So we see Gen Z just being slightly different, but every day there are an increased number of Gen Z that are coming into the market.
Yeah. It's funny you mention that, because one of my nephews turned 21 a couple of years ago, and within 3 months of turning 21, he's already got a top 10 list of beers. I was like, wait a minute. Didn't you just turn,
Yeah.
So, but yeah, he would do just that. He'd go to his local bars and just try a couple here, a couple there, and find out what he likes little by little. So, given all of this, this moderation, what are some of the things that on and off-premise operators can do to kind of accommodate?
Yeah, there are a lot of impacts, and I think if we think about the off-premise, it's ensuring that you have non-alcohol products as an alternative to some of those alcohol-containing products, and making sure they're the right ones. They taste good. A lot of brands are finding success within non-alcohol beer, non-alcohol wine, and non-alcohol spirits. And I also think it's having a balance of the right portfolio by category. So making sure you have the premium products that some shoppers might be looking for. I think that could really help out with this idea of moderation, but it's something that the entire industry is having to combat. And then within the on-premise, we see what once was a mocktail comprised of some random juices mixed together is now becoming a bartender created cocktail with a non-alcohol tequila. And so consumers are also enjoying that. So it's ensuring that you have the availability of the products. And it's very rare nowadays, I think, to look at a menu and not find a non-alcohol product on it. So
yeah, I've seen a lot more of that. They'll actually, I think it maybe started a couple years ago, where they started adding them to the menus, at least in New York, in the city, and in Queens where I am. So it's becoming more normal, and it's not like someone's not embarrassed to ask for a Shirley Temple.
Yeah.
Not like in the past. It's like, okay, give me a Shirley Temple.
Yeah.
But they're more creative. They have creative names. They're marketing them a lot more creatively.
Yeah.
So it seems to be it's more of a cooler thing. I know of one brand that actually the owner started as a restaurant owner, and she saw there were so many people were asking for the non-alcoholic drinks that she created a brand based on it, and it's doing very well. So it's becoming more commonplace.
And it's really, that consumer is really driving it, and it's awesome to hear about, a supplier picking up on that and going for it.
Excellent. Well, again, thank you for your presentation, and we will be posting on our blog the full presentation deck, so you can find it over there. So thanks again.
Thanks, Sean.